You should probably say hello first.
We should.
Make it sound like we know what we're talking about.
How should we do like on the count of three? Hello!
Hello! Welcome to the Sheer Isolation podcast. Ta-da! Like that.
Is it a podcast or is it a vlogcast?
Oh, I hate the word vlog. Something about the V and the L, I just don't like it.
It's a podcast with visuals.
It's a video podcast. The Sheer Isolation video podcast.
Video podcast. Okay, that works.
So we got a good example of some local music to start off our very first track on our very first podcast.
Yeah, so we're gonna go with Lost Trades, who are a sort of Wiltshire wide band. It's Tamsin from Devises, it's Jamie Hawkins from Devises, and it's Phil Cooper from Westbury. All three are very well known across Wiltshire as independent solo artists. They play everywhere, like all the way down Salisbury, Swindon, all over the place and everywhere in between. And they've come together to create a supergroup. And the group is indeed super. It's basically focused around the fact that the three of them harmonise beautifully. That's the point of the band. I listened to it and I was liking it to like the beautiful South, like 90s kind of lush layers and melodies and harmonies, and they're great. So what song have you got for us?
We've got Silent Noise of the Mind.
For a while I can't control what I see. Traveling through this eyes closed journey, I no longer have the key. All alone in the wild unconscious, my past comes back to me, and now I hear the silent noise of the mind. As I wake, my reason slips away, pining for the things that I had yesterday. Drifting like a mist from nowhere. Where you come from, I can't say. I find myself in familiar places on an unfamiliar day. I'm hit by unfaithful memories as my mind goes astray. I cannot change my focus, I can't look the other way. I'm forced to hear the silent noise of the mind. As I wake, my reason slips away, pining for the things that I had yesterday. This vision so strong, these days I've gone. It's so busy in my head, so busy in my head. My reason is blind to what's left behind. It's a constant grind, the noise of the mind. I go for a walk at midnight, my mind wanders free. My thoughts are released for a while, I can't control what I see.
Welcome back, John.
Oh, that's me. Well, welcome back. So that was the Lost Trades with Silent Noise of the Mind. You are listening, or you're watching the Sheer Isolation podcast, video podcast. I've got to get used to saying viewing because I'm just so used to saying listening. For those people who don't know who the two of us are, we should probably properly introduce ourselves. Did you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Kieran Moore. For those who don't know me, I've been a live music promoter in Wiltshire for 16 years this year. I'll be in October this year. And we've done, between me and various people, friends, affiliates, we've done like 500 gigs in Wiltshire and probably over 1,000 events, not necessarily my own, over the past 16 years. It's been a fantastic run. We've had some incredible successes. But we've had some other shows which, although the bands don't make it to be famous, they are some of the most legendary shows we ever did. So that's me in a nutshell. I'm all about live music and about the gigs.
We'll be talking about one of your legendary shows later on, but we won't give the game away just yet. Oh, I can see it behind your shoulder.
There's a clue just there.
So my name's Jon Ponting, and very similar to Kieran, I started doing live music in Wiltshire probably around 2005, 2006, doing open mic nights. But in like the north of Wiltshire and around the Cotswolds, so that kind of area. And then just moved, I suppose, towards doing a few festival stages and then into doing a few little local radio shows, kind of similar to BBC Introducing, but more like this podcast in the way that it's completely insane and doesn't quite hold together. My turn to choose a track then. And I'm going to go with, this is another band who really suffered. Well, I suppose every band and every singer has suffered in the last month by having to cancel a load of gigs. The Black Feathers were in America halfway through doing a US tour. They had to cancel probably about 40 odd shows.
No way.
And they had to come back to Cirencester. And they were some of the last people to go through the JFK airport. So it's really, they put some pictures up on Insta of JFK airport being completely shut down and then just coming through as some of the last people to leave. They've taken to doing some streaming, which is what pretty much every musician is doing at the moment. And they did some streaming last week just for those guys who are missing out on the gigs over there. This is one of their tracks. It's called Strangers We Meet.
See that lighthouse before you. See that light up ahead. See the stars as they shimmer and shine overhead. Hear the wandering river. Hear the birds overhead. Hear the bells of the Angelus ringing your head. And it's hard to remember the strangers we meet when we're all washed away in the rain.
one of the reasons, or one of the ways this podcast came about, was in response to the fact that musicians are now stuck in their homes and can't gig, and we're just looking for other ways of promoting and talking about musicians and getting the word out about them, because the whole industry is really struggling. I mean, Kieran, you work in the industry, so you're really close to it.
Yeah, absolutely. I work in a venue in Chippenham called the Nield, and when the lockdown happened, they went, "Ron, that's it. All gigs on all events, music, everything, comedy, the lot stopped until June," and that's huge. That's from when it happened. It's like nearly 4 months, 3.5 months. It's like, oh, okay. So, but obviously, I'm in regular contact with venues and friends like Rob Dahl at the Cheese and Grain. My son works at the Comedia. I've got friends who own venues in Salisbury, in Swindon. Darren Simons and Rob Blake. Contacted them all. I spoke to them all. I know what's happening across the area, and it's awful. There's definitely going to be some casualties as a result of this.
No, I completely agree. I mean, two things. First off, I still can't get my head around the fact that you've got a child who's old enough to be working, because you only look about 18 yourself.
He's 18.
And secondly, this streaming, as you say, everyone's jumping over to streaming because they can't get out and go to their own gigs, and it is going to stick around. But at the moment, I'm finding it already quite frustrating because there's so many people streaming. Just like 6 months ago, if there were a few musicians that you wanted to see, and like one was in Swindon, one was in Bristol, one was in Cardiff, you'd weigh up travel versus cost versus how much you want to see them. Whereas now you don't have that equation because everybody's in your living room for free and you don't know who to watch.
And also you can watch it live there and then and be interactive, or you can just watch it again later after the live stream's finished. So you never miss out in this current platform. You're never going to miss out. You can go watch, if this is 2 streams clash, which is happening loads at the moment, or 3 or 4 streams, you just go watch them again later. Like I say, it's going to change the industry. So exciting times.
It really is, yeah.
To the next artist, Joe Edwards. So Joe Edwards is a Devizes-based blues musician, affectionately known as Grandma's Joe. It's a story about my kids. I won't go into it. But Joe,
save it for another time, mate. Save it for another time.
Yeah, save it for another time. But so Joe, he hired the Wharf in Devizes, which is no mean feat in itself. Very difficult venue to hire. He hired it. He then sold it out. It's 94 tickets. I can't remember how much the tickets were, but he sold it out, and he was ready to launch his album. That was the show. It was all going to be focused around that, and obviously COVID hit. Gig was cancelled. So Joe now is sat at home with a stack of merch and no gig to release. We are actually going to do a full live stream from Joe as soon as he's fit and well, perhaps next week, perhaps the week after, I don't know. That'll be a whole evening dedicated to him. But for the time being, we have one song from him, and it's called Keep On Running.
Well, I'm driving through an open road where my mind is free, man. Well, I feel reborn, man. My clothes are tethered, but my heart is clean. Well, I feel my lungs as let's breathe it in. No, you gotta keep on running, gotta keep on running through the heat, yeah. Well, you gotta keep on living, gotta keep on living till you sleep. Well, now I wandered through these city streets where those guys are mean, man. Them girls were cheap. They want us through life through the 9 to 5s, but there ain't no point in living, man, if you don't feel alive. Oh, you gotta keep on running, gotta keep on running through the heat. Well, you gotta keep on living, gotta keep on living till you sleep.
got no place to be. And I ain't got a lot of things that I'm told I need. Well, and I ain't gonna worry when the Lord comes down for me. Oh, you gotta keep on running, gotta keep on running through the heat. Well, you gotta keep on living, gotta keep on living till you sleep. Well, you gotta keep on running, gotta keep on running through the heat. Well, you gotta keep on living, gotta keep on living till you sleep.
Right, I think it's about time we talked about that poster over your shoulder.
Well, let's talk about anniversaries in general, because this week has seen two really significant anniversaries. So we've had the anniversary of Kurt Cobain, who died on 5th of April 94. So that was within this last week, 20 years ago. I find it crazy that people who were born in the 90s are in their 20s now, which is just ridiculous. I struggle with getting my head around that. But anyway, and obviously the one over my shoulder was Monday the 3rd of April 2004. So this is sort of in my very early days of promoting. Frank Turner and Ben Marwood. They met at that show. And I'm pointing to it for people who can see. We did an anniversary poster. Oh God, what year? When did I do that? I think I did it on the 10-year anniversary. So about 5 or 6 years ago. Which Dan O'Dell likes to point out that Frank didn't have the tattoo that's actually advertised in the poster. That's because his poster wasn't a poster for the gig at the time. It was a homage, the 10-year anniversary, celebration of the two wonderful musicians that are Ben Marwood and Frank Turner.
There's always going to be somebody who's going to point something out as finicky as that, isn't there?
But
there's
Dan,
a name for people like that,
out.
and I normally get called it.
Oh, right, okay, yeah. Well, we pointed it out to Dan at the time, and when we shared it again the other day, it was like, yes, we know, Dan, you pointed it out at the time. We corrected you at the time. Yes, it's a homage poster. It's a celebration of those two wonderful people. They met in Devizes at that gig, and the rest, they say, is history, because Ben got signed by Extra Mile. He went on tour with Frank. He toured America with Frank. He's done some wonderful stuff. And Ben will always be close to my heart and pretty much close to everybody involved with Extra Mile. So, we're going to do a Ben song now, are we?
Yeah, we got a track from Ben Marwood, the man himself. Yeah, so we're going to play Under Lock and Key.
Oh, this is a lovely song. It's all about death and murder. Take it away, Ben.
I've got eyes in the back of my head, she said, and then she turned her back. But she didn't see the blow that I would land. And under crumpled legs, the fire in her eyes snuffed out. Now we must return her body to the ground. And the words we said as we wrecked her bed were only poured in a storm. And the ship has sailed, but the mission failed. But we were always bound for war like everybody else. They should keep someone like me under lock and key. They should keep someone like me under lock. When the morning breaks over still life, the still life forms stand out, and her lack of breathing's louder than a shout. And now I'm running till my legs pull tight, and I've never cried so hard in my whole life. And the words we know flare up and explode like we're at a firing range. And the ship has sailed, but the mission failed. But we will never be the same and never will again. They should keep someone like me under lock and key. They should keep someone like me under lock, They should keep someone like me under lock and key. They should keep someone like me under lock. They should keep someone like me under lock and key. They should keep someone like me under lock. Oh, they should keep someone like me under lock and key. They should keep someone like me under lock. Under lock.
You're dedicating a lot of time to setting up streaming events for musicians. So have we got anything to look forward to in the coming weeks?
We do. So obviously we've got what we mentioned earlier. We've got the Joe Edwards, the whole album live stream. We've just done Kirsty Clinch, and next Wednesday, so there'll be obviously 3-4 days after this video goes live, we have Adam Norsworthy, another blues musician, who's going to do a live session for us too. So that'll be fun. I'm trying to integrate new people into the live streams, because I'm seeing lots of the acts repeated, same people repeated. And as much as I love those acts and they're all my friends, I don't want to watch them every single night of the week. So I'm trying to integrate new people into the streams so that we, people like Kirsty, who you will be familiar with the gigs, but she's actually only done 1 or 2 streams, and she's not done any via me. So that, trying to integrate new people. So yeah, Adam Norsworthy next Wednesday. Then looking further ahead, Joe Edwards, and there will be some more. I've got a really exciting secret bubbling underneath, but it's not confirmed yet. So
I suppose that there's quite a lot of musicians out there who just aren't familiar with and don't know where to start with streaming. So that's maybe why you're seeing the same people again and again and again, because quite a lot of musicians just either don't have the money to invest in the equipment, or just don't have the technical knowledge to know where to begin.
All the confidence of doing it. The very first live stream I ever saw was She Makes War in Bristol, Laura doing some live streams. And it was a really strange experience because they can be quite intimate. And that was a few years ago now. Obviously, everything's come on leaps and bounds, but you've got to have that confidence to be able to do that, pull that off from your bedroom or from wherever. And yes, I think there's some weird barriers there that people got to overcome. And because it's about letting people in. I know a lot of musicians talk about that when they perform live. And obviously, if you're performing live from your living room or your bedroom or wherever, yeah, there is definitely barriers there. So I can appreciate it might be difficult for some people to actually overcome that. So yeah, but people like Gaz Brookfield hit the ground running because they're already doing them. They'd already previously done them. So for some people, this has really opened up an opportunity to do something they already were doing and do it at a much higher standard and a much more confident standard than other people who are just starting now because the opportunity presents itself.
Kieran, we've got time for one more song, and it says on my bit of paper here that we got some ducking punches.
Oh, of course, yes. So Dan Allen, another kind of extra mile Frank Turner Illumini link. He is doing a stream this Sunday of his second album. What's the second album called? I've forgotten.
Is that Easter Sunday when you say this Sunday?
Yes, Sunday, this Easter. He's doing the whole album back to front to start. So what I've done is I've spoken to Dan. I said, we're doing this podcast. Can we pick one of your videos off it? He said, yes, please, go right ahead. So we picked Big Brown Pills from Lynn.
I woke up on the wrong side of 25. I needed help. I passed out and felt the carpet on my cheek. I needed help. You showed up half cut in the afternoon. You needed help. We watched all our friends drink stolen booze. They needed help. We had the best dysfunctional friends that needed help. We would raise our cans into the air and drink to our health. Shut down with noise complaints and gate crashes that didn't help. We lived as destructively as he had all the attention. Goddamn, it nearly killed us.
Ducking punches, big brown pills from Lynn. You have been watching or listening to the Sheer Isolation podcast with John and myself, Kieran. Thanks everybody for watching the very first instalment. Hopefully things are going to improve over the next few weeks.
Oh, I hope not. This has been one of those car crashes that I've quite enjoyed being in.
Okay, let's hope it doesn't improve. I'm definitely going to get more TFI Friday. I think I need to involve more TFI Friday ideas of like exploding eggs in microwaves. So maybe we'll have a few cutaways next week. Can
we not do that while eggs are in such short supply?
Actually, yeah, no, my wife would kill me.
If there are any musicians or bands out there and you want to send us over your videos, you can send a YouTube link to us at sheerisolation@gmail.com, and we'll put that into our little library that we're gathering. So we got plenty of stuff for the next coming shows. As I say, we're hoping to get some musicians to join us on our little podcasting explorations. So hopefully from next week we'll get that sorted. I suppose my first challenge is making sure that I can fix this and edit it so it's reasonably presentable.
Reasonably.
Kieran, it has been a pleasure to spend these last 3 hours talking to you.
It's been 47 minutes, although I was 6 minutes late. It's been 41 minutes.
Oh, you're such a realist. I'm such a drama queen. But no, it's been fantastic. It's been nice to have a chat to you. I think we might have made a podcast out of all this. Fingers crossed. Let's see.
Bye.
Bye. There we go.
And that is a wrap.